If you followed this channel anytime at all, you probably know that I have a special place in my heart for the final race scene from the first Fast and the Furious film. And over time, it's led me to some questionable diorama builds. And while I've had a lot of fun with those, it's about time that somebody made one that I don't have to build myself. So finally, Jada Toys has delivered on that with this Nano Scene. It's the Fast and the Furious final race. I think this is the second Nano Scene that they've done from the Fast and Furious movie, the first one being the Toretto house. So today we're going to take a closer look at this one. So stick around. Let's take a closer look at everything in this package. Okay, since y'all have better things to do today than watch me open boxes, I'll just show you the pieces, how they were kind of packed together. You have two of these larger parts here, two smaller parts, some railroad track that was together, some little bits here that are some, I guess, railroad lights, crossings, street lights. I'm going to leave these in the bag until we're ready for them. Some more railroad track, and of course this car that was by itself. You know, when you buy this set, especially if you have a small space, you'd be tempted to just kind of take this plastic off and leave it as just this miniature, just this section. So I could see people wanting to do that. Obviously, you're probably not getting, I guess, as much value out of it because you're not using all the pieces. But if you're just looking for a small scene to display somewhere, I think you could probably make it to where you could keep it kind of like this. So we'll see how this backing piece holds up once we unpack all this. So this one is held in with screws. So that's good. You could reuse this part of the diorama if you need to, this background scene. See how we can get this off. This is taped. Alright, so we have that. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull these cars out so I don't accidentally drop. I can get this tape off. Maybe that'll make it slim enough that I can pull it through. Yep, that's it. So rather than take the thing apart, if you can just get the tape all the way off this plastic tab, it just pulled right through. Yeah, this thing, where it's snapped together, does not want to come apart. That's probably a good sign. So we've already looked at a lot of the other pieces in the train. While we got this out, we'll go ahead and look at it too. Really nice piece of roadway here and track. I will say the road, you know, now that I'm looking at it, it's kind of interesting that it's more like a brown color than looks like asphalt. Probably something a lot of people, I guess, wouldn't notice. It definitely makes the cars pop more. I think it really will help with the Charger kind of sticking out from the scene. So if this was black and you had the Charger on top of it, it just kind of blends in. You have these railroad crossing pieces. They do move. Of course, these are all put together like they've been broke. You can put these up in the air like they've just been broke or let them fall down. So you have a little bit of variation there. These things, as far as moving, turning side to side, not a lot of movement there. If you do have one that's a little out of place, you can turn it enough that you can fix it, but I probably wouldn't fool with it any more than that. And these have been glued in on the pieces that are already here, so you want to be real careful not to break them. You're more kind of bending them into place if you need to. So just be aware of that before you go trying to twist these out. You will break them off if you're not careful. Before we start to put these together, let's take a closer look at these. I think these are what they call HO scale. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. So, you know, a lot of people ask, these are kind of what I would call micro machine size, although actually I think these are a little bit bigger than what the micro machines are. And different than the micro machines, these are actual die-cast cars. So keep that in mind. They're not a plastic body with a die-cast chassis. As far as I can tell anyway, I believe these are a die-cast body. I will say on the Charger, this blower is obviously a little bit crooked. And I kind of seen that before I bought the package, and it almost kept me from buying it. But when I saw the other pieces were bent, I thought, well, I can probably deal with that just a little bit more. Not to mention, if you have the Toretto house, or if I decide to get the Toretto house, you have another chance to get a decent model of this car. That's probably one of the downsides that we'll talk about here in a little bit, is just the car selection. Obviously, you have to have these cars for this scene. I prefer this scene over the Toretto house, although there's nothing wrong with the Toretto house. It's pretty popular. But, you know, especially if they knew they were going to make this one, I think it would have been nice if the Toretto house had at least the Jetta or the Acura or some other car other than these two. So take that for what it's worth. You know, if you've already got that one, then you're getting an extra set of these cars. So Not too bad for the size. Interesting way to do the glass here, grayed out. Wheels are okay for what they are. The tail light and bumper detail, actually pretty good. Front end detail for the size, again, really good. We'll take a look at the Supra and then we'll kind of compare these to like a Hot Wheels size car. Supra looks really good. You know, not a whole lot else. You don't expect much more accuracy, I think, out of this size car on the front end. Hood looks pretty good. Hood actually looks better than a lot of the Hot Wheels versions that I've seen. Interesting, they went with silver here on the spoiler. Wheels probably leave a little something to be desired, but overall not bad. Graphic on the side actually looks pretty good. I don't know if you zoomed in far enough. Alright, so let's just take a look at these little sponsorship tampos here. I tried to zoom in farther with my camera and I couldn't read them. So they look really detailed and it looks like if you could zoom in far enough, you might be able to read them. So I guess it's enough that if you're looking at it from the side, it looks like you could read it if you had a, you know, high enough magnification. Taillights look okay. Rear end looks alright overall. You know, for the size and for the price, I think it's not bad. About what you would expect if you've seen some of these other micro machine size cars from Jada, this Nano Scene stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look at these in comparison to their Hot Wheels counterparts. For this comparison, I'm using the Hot Wheels cars that came in the Fast and Furious 5-pack from last year. I didn't say the actual scale of these cars earlier because, to be honest with you, I've not found a definitive answer. It's generally accepted that anything micro is going to be 1/87th scale or smaller. And a lot of the things I've seen on these cars say that they're around 1/100th scale, maybe a little bit smaller than that. So you can see in comparison to the 1/64th Hot Wheels, they're about half the length. So take that for what it is. You know, obviously when you're talking about scale cars, there are some concessions given to fit packaging, to size of the cars kind of closer together. See, overall here, I think they did a pretty good job in comparison. And honestly, there's a few things I like better on the smaller car than I do on the Hot Wheels version. But both good looking cars. I think maybe the only thing that throws me, I guess, would be this gray glass here. I don't know. It probably would have looked goofy if you'd have done it in black, but it just kind of sticks out a little bit if you're looking at the car real close. Obviously, I also don't like that this blower is a little bit crooked here. And, you know, I'm probably going to leave it if I was real worried about it, or if I get real worried about it, I may break it off and just glue it back on straight. Compare this one to the Hot Wheels counterpart. You can see there's a lot more detail on the tampo on the side, but again, that's to be expected with a bigger car. And on this version, there's nothing on the top here. On the premium version, there is. It's painted, but to be honest with you, I think it actually looks a little bit better on this car the way they did the hood. Headlights, obviously, again, a little bit more detail on the bigger car. But overall, again, not a bad representation. Maybe wish they'd have done something a little bit different with those wheels, but to be truthful, and looky here on the back, painted taillights on the Nano and nothing on the Hot Wheels. The wheels, they do kind of pop, so they have that going for them. You know, I think it does stick out a little bit more against this paint. So, yeah, maybe it's all right. It's nothing, again, I'm real worried about. In a car this small, you know, you're just kind of going for the overall feel, I think, and I believe they've done that. There's only so much you can expect out of this without, you know, increasing the price tag. Okay, so I went ahead and took a closer look at this Supra to see if this little stand would come off. And it does. You don't have to unscrew anything. It literally just pops right out. It's just a peg and a hole that it sets on here. So this is the one I was worried about being able to set flat on the ground. That's why I went ahead and tried it. But both of these will basically just pull right out. Okay, so we have the instructions here. We're going to go ahead and assemble this. But I will say before we get started that, you know, if you have a small space that you're wanting to display, you don't care about doing the whole thing, you could just leave this piece, put it back in the cardboard backing, have the cars, you know, set like this and the train, and I mean, voila, you've pretty much got the whole scene in a nutshell here, right? You could do it just like that without adding any other piece, and I think that would be fine. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, that's probably what you want, you know. And that may honestly be what I do with it after it's said and done. But we're going to go ahead and assemble this whole thing and see what it looks like in the bigger scheme of things. The first assemblies weren't hard to put together at all. They snapped together really easily. Once I started putting these onto the main assembly, it is a little hard to get in here, to be honest with you. I'm pushing this pretty hard, and you can see it's not going anywhere. I'm really trying not to break anything off. Just kind of working these in here. We're not going to keep going on camera with it, but I'm going to see if I can get this worked in a little bit, and we'll go from there. Okay, so you can see this other piece seemed to go together a little bit better, and even with it going in well, you know, the pieces that did go together are kind of pushing themselves back apart a little bit. So some of you diorama builders or some people that have more experience with this, if you have any tips for getting this together better, let me know. Obviously, I'm not an expert at this, you know, and I would assume that a lot of people that are buying this aren't either, so you can use my experience to kind of see what you might be getting into. So I ran into a little issue when I was trying to put this other track together. There's a little bit of slag on the end of this track that has the detents on it, and it's too much for me to be able to put these pieces together. So I'm going to have to take my box cutter and trim just a little bit of this off. Okay, so we've got all the train track on, and you can see that overall, if you count this train track, this is a pretty long set. I don't have a measuring tape with me, but it looks like it's about 2 feet long. So really big area of play if you're looking to use it as a play set. If you're using it for a display, unless you're adding it in with something else, I have a feeling you're probably not going to use all this train track because it's kind of a lot of wasted space. Okay, so we've added all the street lights, the extra railroad crossings here. I will say this is kind of odd. There's a lot of space here. I don't know why they didn't put something in here where these would be closer together. Maybe if you keep them up, it's not as noticeable. The stoplights, traffic lights, and the street lights all look pretty good here. Again, when you're putting them in, be careful not to bend them. They do all only go in one way, so don't try to force them. It also does come with these railroad bars, I'm going to call them, that you can put on these instead of the broke ones. I'm not going to swap those out. I would assume it's not too hard. Again, just kind of peg and hole. So looking at the train, like I said, these are plastic. They do look really nice though, and they just go together. It's just a simple little peg and hole here. Fits together pretty nicely. And let's see how it goes on the track. So small, it's just kind of hard to see and know if you're getting it on there right. Yeah, so overall, it doesn't seem too bad. It rolls really good once you get it on there, actually. I can see why they made it so wide now, especially since they included this extra car. Because honestly, this takes up the whole space, and you've only got room, basically, if one part of the train is on the scene, the other part of the train is going to take up most of the other rest of the track here. So it is nice, you know, now that I see it that way, that they've included this extra track. Kind of helps keep things, it's probably more just to keep the train in line than anything. Do they have to include this extra car? Probably not, but I will say it's a nice addition. If you've just got the engine there, I don't see the point in doing anything other than this main piece. So that being said, the unfortunate part is if you did want to use this packaging background, then you're not going to be able to use it, you know, once you put this other stuff on here. But if you want to display it like that, I'd probably at least take it apart and take this piece out just so you can see the cars better. Speaking of the cars, again, we have them on these little stands here. You know, at first glance, I thought these were plungers. They're really not plungers. They're just stands, which, you know, if you're not moving it around, not a big deal. Very easy to place however you want. You know, if you wanted to kind of put it like one of them was landing crooked, you can lean them. It's just a ball and socket joint, so you can kind of turn them any way you want. Nice feature there. And you can see the overall setup actually, you know, looks pretty nice, I think. So my overall impression of this, especially for the $20 I paid, I think it's a fine value. Do I think it's a steal? You know, I don't know. It was obviously a good enough value that I felt like buying it when there's a lot of other stuff out there that I probably wouldn't buy for that price. You know, at $25, I'd still be interested in it. I would probably pick it up. Any more than that, I probably wouldn't be very interested in it. If you start charging more than that, I'm going to at least be wanting a diecast train. I noticed to a lot of people that's probably not a thing, but, you know, I want a little more value out of it if I'm going to be paying more than that. I think for $20, though, it's fine. If you could catch it on sale, fantastic. Definitely pick it up. So I think this shot here kind of tells the tale. Overall, the more I look at it from these angles, I do think that the value is definitely there. Looks good from a lot of different angles. You could obviously do some other things with this. May take a look at a few other shots here in a minute. A pretty big play set, so you could even use this for some of your other Nano Scenes cars or Micro Machines style cars. Really good for that. So overall, I think the value is definitely there. You can see here, you have multiple options with even this set that you could do. You can move some things around, switch some parts. So a lot of different options in how you want to display this. Really easy to move around if you decide you don't like it one way or the other. So overall, I think if you're a fan of the Fast and Furious and you want a nice little display piece, it's going to be hard to go wrong with this. And I do think overall, I like this one a little bit better than the Toretto House. Of course, that's going to be up to you and your particular taste. But I definitely wouldn't hesitate to recommend this, and I wouldn't hesitate to pick this up again. So this is definitely a win for me. If you like this unboxing and review, be sure to watch some of these other videos we have up here. I think I'll try to add in some of my homemade dioramas so you can go back and make fun of those and laugh at them with me. And if you haven't yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Be sure you don't miss out on any of our other Diecast content. Hope y'all are having a good day. Happy hunting, y'all.